a really good class, so we want to make sure everyone has a chance to hear this class. So thank you guys all very much for coming. We're happy to have you here tonight. Going to be kind of a unique class on my part because I want to make sure that you all hear stories. Not going so much for the science tonight. We're going to go for the stories. That's my part. But first, we want to say we're going to be talking about the thyroid and our thyroid health. The thyroid is part of the endocrine system. Let me just go ahead and show you a graphic of what we're going to be talking about. Let us see, what on earth are we going to be talking about tonight? We want to understand what is the endocrine system? What are we talking about? And I will pull that graphic up for you later. But basically, the endocrine system is your glandular system. We have tons and tons of glands in our body, and we want to keep them healthy. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, how we can keep all of these glands healthy, happy, and going strong for us and our health. But we want to also tell you we're not doctors, that Rochelle and I are not doctors, so we don't treat, cure, prevent diseases. We are not here to get you off your thyroid medicine, but we want to teach you, since the thyroid and your endocrine system is so important, we want to help you understand how you can keep it the healthiest. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Rochelle.
Welcome, everyone. So we've done this class before, and I'm excited because I learned some new things, but it's also been really helpful for me. A few years prior, I was diagnosed with an issue with my thyroid. So it was nice to learn a little bit more about what it was like in more detail, what I was dealing with, but then how I can have more support and keep things at bay so that I don't have to really deal with it or so severely in the future. So the thyroid, of course, you know, it's a gland. It's right about here, somewhere up in there, and it controls many different faculties in our body. It's an energy gland. It produces certain types of hormones, T3 and T4, which you may have heard of. It's also it's those two things control the body's metabolism, and mostly just, you know, honestly, just real talk, as women, that's always something we're always looking for. We want our metabolism to be faster. We want it to work, you know, accurately for us. We don't want it out of whack. So paying attention to the thyroid and some of its functions, some of which have to do with digestion, circulation, your immune function, and hormone balance, and your emotions. So it controls the pituitary gland, your brain, right? And so those are things that we want to look for, different types of signals when you're starting to have issues of those particular nature. Young Living has produced not only essential oils, but also some supplements that help support when you have to deal with those particular issues. The hypothalamus, it's a gland that actually sends a chemical signal to the pituitary gland, and that monitors the hormone levels in your blood. Basically, when you're feeling a bit off, maybe a little more emotional, maybe your internal temperature gauge is gone whack. That's one thing to type and look up for. Doctors actually do look and will check your thyroid more now than they ever did. They didn't used to, but now it's something that they will check for. The lack of a thyroid hormone does not necessarily mean that it's not functioning. That's something that I read that I was surprised. And then it said in some instances, you know, the pituitary gland itself could actually be malfunctioning. So when you're going to the doctor, you just want to be clear and upfront about symptoms that you're having. And then other cases, you know, you might have deficiencies due to other different types of things. So what Young Living has done is that they've produced some essential oils. Some are singles, some are blends, and they will help with different types of issues. So I want to be really careful because I don't want to name anything specific. But maybe you're dealing with anxiety. Maybe you're dealing with insomnia. And I'm not talking about that phase of life that women go to, right? The next stage, the next phase. This has to do with your thyroid. And so that those are some of the things that it controls. Glucose issues, joint issues, skin. Um, those are things to look for. So here is a couple of blends, one of which is a vitality, which means you can take it internally, and that is the Endoflex. And one of the things, the first things I learned from Donna Cook, and some of you are familiar with her, and Donna had mentioned that she needed additional support. And she explained how you take the Endoflex. She goes, you can put a roller top on the top. Is that what it's called, Chris? And you can take it and you can roll it. And then you massage it in a circular motion for like 20 minutes a day, or 20 seconds, 20 seconds. And that will give you some additional support. And you'll start to feel where certain functions in your body are now starting to be regulated. So I did order the Endoflex, and that was one of the things I started to do on the regular. When I went to go see my doctor, they were like, oh, well, this isn't happening, and then you're not that. Well, it can't be this. And I'm like, but when things are not in balance, how do you know? You need a little time to go by. And, to be honest, most women, they really pay attention with what's going on in their body. And like I always try to explain to people that medicine is a practice and we're the pincushions. So you really need to advocate for yourself. And then you need a little time, and then you start working and utilizing different remedies, so to speak. And so the Endoflex was one of my favorites. I started to see a shift in not only in emotional state, but in my temperature gauge, and just I think it was the emotional state that was probably the most significant change. And so that's what I will use on the regular. That also comes in vitality. And then also you've got uh, a couple of nutritionals that I was really surprised, and this is what the research found. So there's sulfurzyme, which, as you reach a certain age, you start feeling issues with your joints. Sulfurzyme, I thought, oh, this is good, this is great. But it's one of the top performers or supporters when you're dealing with your thyroid. And what will assist it and push it over the top is the multi-greens. That's what I found surprising. That's what I read. So sulfurzyme, and with it using the multi-greens, that's one of the things that helps. It boosts it, in other words. So when you're dealing with an issue, and it helps you when you go back to the doctor and they start running, they like to see the natural homeopathic term that you've taken, and then you can show them, I am using this, here's how I'm using, this is what I'm using, here's how I'm using it, here's the support that I'm actually getting. And so that was really surprising to me. It's no longer an issue that I've been having, but if it becomes one, that's one of the first things that I can add. And I think the other thing was, I didn't know I wasn't taking sulfurzyme regularly. I was taking the multi-greens. So that's something that I could put together. And so there you go. So you've got Endoflex. It comes in a vitality, which means you can take it internally. You've got sulfurzyme, and to give it a boost, you've got the multi-greens. And then we have what's called Thyromin. And I see Lisa's picture on here, and I know that Lisa, I don't know, she's not prepared. She has no idea that I was going to bring this up, but I know that she's taken the Thyromin before, and it's specific to the thyroid itself. So I wanted to share with you something that I found through one of the apps. I use a few different apps, but the one that I love the most is the EO bar, and it has a section for supplements, and the supplement THY, let me pull that up. It comes in capsules. Okay. So here's some of the ingredients: iodine, potassium, the proprietary blend of Thyromin. So we don't have specifics for that, but you've got parsley, you have peppermint, spearmint, myrtle, myrrh, magnesium, and that's carbonate and stearate. So you've got these ingredients and they put them in a formula, right? Put it in a capsule, and the protocol is to take it in the morning. So that's what you're actually going to do. That's going to help. Um, it says that you take them. Okay, now this is interesting because I read in my Jen O'Sullivan book, there's a contradiction here. She says take one in the morning, but on the EO bar, it actually says take two before you go to sleep. And so it's got to be some of the oils that are in there that probably relax you. But if you feel like you need it in the morning, if it's not going to put you to sleep, then taking it in the morning might be one way to go. So that's Thyromin. Again, I haven't taken it, but I know that Lisa Godino has. Lisa, hi, how are you? Would you like to share something on that?
Yeah, I'm sitting here clenching. I I mean, I've dealt with it a lot. You listed everything off that's in there, and it is excellent because when you do your research on the thyroid, it is tricky because they do look at, like you said, the T4, the T3, and it can change. But what's really nice about the product, it's a natural way of doing it. There's synthetic ways of tampering with the thyroid. This is a very natural way of doing it. And years ago when I went to naturopath, he said, my best prescription for people with thyroid issues is to send them to Hawaii and have them swim in the ocean with all that kelp and seawater. And it's a prescription for everybody twice a year. And I take it with my Thyromin, but it's kind of a joke, but it's true. He said it's basically not the iodine you'd get anywhere, but it's from kelp and natural forms. And anytime you have your body work naturally, it's what we all need as we get older.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much. No, I appreciate that. So that is what I have. So now you've got some single oils, and I always will go for a blend because I feel like you get more bang for your buck. And so you've got myrrh, Idaho blue spruce, lemongrass, wintergreen, German chamomile. You've got bergamot, and you've got cedarwood. One of the things I found out about the cedarwood when you're dealing with the thyroid, some of the research information, it says in case where your thyroid hormone deficiency is caused by a malfunctioning pituitary or your hypothalamus, supplements or essential oils such as cedarwood may help stimulate the pituitary or the hypothalamus. So that's something to just keep in mind if you're dealing with something that's a little bit more specific. So I appreciate that because cedarwood is actually something that I will diffuse on the regular. I also will put a drop on the top of my head, when I do my hair. So I will do that. And I just find ways to not only to diffuse, but to apply them topically. The one thing I will say, when I had a diagnosis, an issue with my thyroid, I was asking the doctor, how did it come about? I always will ask the how. Sometimes they just don't know. But the one thing, like Lisa had mentioned, when her doctor said he wished he could just tell everyone to go to Hawaii, stress is the number one way you can get it. And so I have been an advocate, and I think that's my why for Young Living, the essential oils, is to keep me at a certain level. And if I can go lower and feel even more wonderful, super great. But when you feel like you're starting to get up on the ledge and you're going to jump, you got to find ways to decrease that, because that's the way that you'll find ways in which your levels of stress go up. It will start to trigger, and things start to really go out of whack. You'll feel it not only in your joints, it causes inflammation, but you'll feel it in your mood and your emotional state. You will see it and you will feel it, but then others will as well. So that has been one of the things that I've consistently tried to do. I'm always diffusing. I always start the day with an oil. So when I was able to do the research and find oils that, oh, I have that, I use that on a regular, I feel that that was a contributor to helping to balance things out. So I will say that. Chris, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, so I did not go too deep into the science, but first of all, let me just ask you all, how many of you can relate to this needing healthy thyroid support that are here tonight? Nice to see. Okay, good.
Everybody would.
Well, let's talk a little bit more. Rochelle kind of, thank you guys. Rochelle kind of opened this up, and with the research I did today, I found something very interesting that kind of builds on what she said, that you have to keep your stress levels down. And that's what we're all trying to do. Anyway, to be healthy people, we want to keep the stress down. But some of the blends they were talking about making for your thyroid to support it are to have healthy inflammation. And what was interesting is they mentioned there cedarwood and copaiba. And then lavender was part of the blend just for the calming effects of it. So if you can keep calm and keep inflammation out of your system, your thyroid's going to be healthier. So that was just something that I found very interesting. So going back to what is this whole endocrine system, which the thyroid is a huge part. Here's a graphic I want to show you. So here are some of the glands that are also all connected in this endocrine system. The main product that I'm going to be telling you all about, that with my research, and I went to stories of people. I haven't had this issue either. And if I have had it, I haven't treated it, but I wanted to find real stories from real people and what helped them. So we're not going to just talk about the thyroid because it's all interconnected in the endocrine system. We're going to talk about the whole endocrine system. And these are the glands that are part of your endocrine system. If you want to take a screenshot there, maybe you know some of these, you've heard of them, but the EndoFlex product, this blend that I'm basically going to talk about tonight, it will help your whole endocrine system. It helps support your whole endocrine system. Okay, so what is in it? Let's just talk first about why do we need to support your endocrine system? What happens? Well, living in Africa, we really didn't have this problem, but in the United States, coming back, we see what a huge, huge issue this is: synthetic fragrance. Because what happens is we have all around us with these synthetic fragrances, endocrine disruptors, and they make our bodies go crazy. What's interesting in these fragrances, if you have products, look on the back, does it say fragrance? When you walk through the mall, you go past these stores, the fragrance just hits you. Well, this is all playing games with your endocrine system, and this could lead to issues. So that's why you want to be so careful about getting all these synthetic fragrances out of your house. That might be all you need. Just get rid of your plugins, your candles, your dryer sheets, any products that you have for your skin or body that have fragrance in them. What's interesting is 95% of synthetic fragrances that you're going to have around you are made from petrochemicals. Petrochemicals are made as a byproduct of gasoline. That's a lot of them come from there, and they play havoc on your system. They can suppress your immune system. A lot of them are carcinogenic. So we don't want cancer. Keep the carcinogenic things off our bodies and out of our homes. And what we're talking about tonight is keeping a healthy thyroid. So this can play games with your endocrine system that can affect your thyroid. So think about it. Anything that says fragrance, there's over 200 potentially toxic fragrances that are in people's homes in general. So just pay attention to that. Pay attention to what kind of synthetic fragrance, any products that you have, skin products, body lotions. Just make sure that you don't have any of these products that say fragrance, because chances are they're synthetic. If you have essential oils that are not Young Living and it says fragrance on it, but you don't know what's in there, I don't trust a lot of them. They could also have synthetics in there that are going to play games with your system. Okay, so what's in this EndoFlex? It is a main supporter from all the research I did and people's stories. What's in it for your endocrine system? Spearmint, sage, geranium. Oh, here we go with my balloon. Sorry, people. Myrtle, nutmeg, and German chamomile. So those are the 6 oils that are in that blend, Endoflex. So I'm just going to go ahead. When I was doing my research, I came up with a bunch of stories that I want to share with you all. So let me start with sharing with you some of these stories. So here we go with factors that can contribute to your thyroid health. So factors that can contribute to your thyroid health are mentioned here. And what are some of those things? Let me get where I can see that. Maybe your insulin is off balance. There's environmental toxins like these synthetic fragrances that I was telling you all about before. You can see that things aren't going right if you have nutritional deficiencies, or even food allergies can show up if your thyroid is not healthy. So those are just some things you might want to look for. I thought I would go ahead and share that with you. What can we do to keep the thyroid healthy? So with the endocrine Endoflex product, let's see what people have to say. That's what I wanted to know, because I haven't personally dealt with this issue. I don't have any experience. I wanted to share with you all what everyone else is saying. So here is, I just wanted to teach you too, that if you ever have a question, maybe there's an organ of the body or your immune system, different systems are going on. I'm going to turn this back over to Rochelle for a minute, because I got to help my husband for a second. So he's coming in. So let me turn it over to Rochelle, and then I'll continue.
Okay. Okay, so I wanted to share with you, it's interesting in regards to the endocrine system, because I think one of the things that I had learned is how much of it really is in our brain. And even though most of the time when I thought about it, I always think in terms of my thyroid. But essential oils actually, it will increase the brain circulation, and it enables the ability for those oils to get in and to calm the brain down. So it reduces inflammation, or calms your mental and your emotional state. And that's really what we want. We want to make sure that what they refer to as homeostasis, that's part of the whole way, or the circulation of how that endocrine system works, that needs to be really level or very calm. And once one thing gets out of whack, it throws everything out of whack. I can only really compare it to the water cycle. And so that's why using, it goes here and it goes there, and everything just basically goes in a circle. And so using the essential oils really keeps you at it calms you down. And I'm going to give you just this week alone, just one little thing, and I'm going to turn it back to Chris. So I work at a local high school. I work in the office, and 2 days in a row, there was fights, and there was a second day it was fight. And it really, really bothered me. I mean, I didn't even recognize how bad it was until boys came in and had gotten to this really bad scuffle, right? And then they come in and they're all ruffled, and and then I'm just kind of watching them, and I wasn't afraid of them. I was just surprised in watching their emotional state. I really felt bad for them. And so at one point, I'm talking to a parent, I'm trying to help her. And then all of a sudden, I really felt like I was going to start crying. And I just couldn't figure that out. But I could tell, though, it was like, okay, clearly it has affected me. So I keep a few different things with me at all times, but one of which was grounding. And that was really wonderful, because I did pop the bottle open, and I inhaled, and I did a tent where you put a couple drops and you just do, and then I used the rest of it. But that was wonderful. And but again, it helped me to remember, I don't want to stay there. I don't want to think, oh, it'll be fine, I'll calm down. No, I need to make sure I pull myself down, because I don't want to stay there. Why? Because then it snowballs into other things. It's that cycle that starts to go. It starts here, and then it just kind of keeps on going. So that's what I learned about making sure that I keep myself at a comfortable level and don't stay. Maybe I don't know the why, but in either case, if I can tell that my emotional state is at 100, I need to pull it down. And so that's the value of the oils. In this case, it was grounding. But I love how what we're talking about is the endocrine system itself and your hormone balance. and learning more about your body and utilizing what you have.
Okay, thank you. I'm back. So what I was saying is if you have, say you're having issues with your lungs, you want lung support, you want your gallbladder support, you could do what I did today just to get different ideas of how people are using different products. I just got on Instagram and I typed in thyroid, Young Living, and the stories I came up with and the ideas I came up with were endless. So you can do that. Whatever you want to research, just put the word you want to research in Young Living. And you'll find, I did this on Instagram. I know, Rochelle, you do it a lot on Pinterest, Facebook, whatever media you use. Google, you're going to get a bunch of other wild things maybe, but that's another idea too. So as to EndoFlex, let's go into the ideas that those who need it and use it and love it have for us. So this is the first graphic that I want to show to you all about EndoFlex, this blend that I just told you about. So it's called Endo because Endo is for your endocrine system. It's supporting all those beautiful glands in our bodies. And it talks about you definitely want to help the rhythm of your body. And this is what this oil does. And it has the idea in the end of this post here. If you want to take some screenshots, feel free to read the whole thing later. But it talks about having some tea, water, or even your Ningxia Red and putting a drop in there for a jump start to your day or an afternoon slump. Most of the time when I was doing research on this particular oil blend, which is right here, and I don't use it, but I'm going to start using it after all the research that I did. Grab a roller top and everybody rolls it right here. Start your day, end your day, twice a day. They usually talk about rolling it on. So if you know somebody who needs some thyroid support, this would be my very first suggestion for you to give to them. But we have a bunch of other ideas. So let's see what else we have out here. And I'm going to show you some more graphics here. Here again is about the vitality. Notice it's a vitality oil. So what that means is you can take it internally. That's why it's talking about taking it in your tea, water, or even your Ningxia Red. So they're talking about when your thyroid needs support, you might be sluggish, be cold. That's a big thing that if you feel cold. And interestingly, as a kid, I always felt cold. Not so much now. If hair loss, dry skin, brittle nails, weight gain, unable to lose weight, brain fog, constipation, and it just goes through a bunch of things that could show that your thyroid needs some more support. So they go into the science here. It's always good to have a doctor, like Rochelle was telling you before, check it out, get the blood test, see where you are, and see if it's just something you think you have going on or something you actually need support with. And here you see, take that roller ball, roll it right over. Both sides of your Adam's apple is where you want to roll the EndoFlex. So that would be a great way to support your thyroid gland. And also it mentions the Thyromine that Lisa and Rochelle were telling you about earlier. So that is another story that I came up with for you all that I thought you would enjoy. Here's something that I found interesting in my research. This is a sign too that you have low thyroid function. It says that having it can help cause food and chemical sensitivities. So if you have that going on, maybe you need to go to the doctor and check out your thyroid function. That was just something I found that I thought was kind of interesting. And as to EndoFlex, we have so many stories, not just EndoFlex itself, but they're talking about more different oils with it. Let me see first before we go on if I have more stories. Here's another story for the EndoFlex Vitality, another way to use it. If this is something you want to use to support your thyroid, it says here, take a drop and stick it under your tongue in the morning and the afternoon. So this would be a great support for your thyroid and your endocrine system. Under the tongue, get it straight into the bloodstream quickly. So that was another idea that I had for you using this oil EndoFlex. What exactly does EndoFlex do? Here's some bullet points of what Endoflex oil does for you, supporting the endocrine system, helping balance your hormones, supporting your thyroid, supporting your adrenal gland. This is another thing too. It's a big part of your endocrine system is your adrenal gland. It helps with energy, your metabolism, weight loss, the liver, and balancing your mood. This was something I came up with a lot, made me think maybe I should try using this oil, that if if your moods are all over the place, if you have temper tantrums, if you're just wild sometimes, might be a sign that you need some thyroid help. So I thought that was cute. Yep, that might be me. Okay. What else did I have for you here? I think there's one more graphic that I wanted to show to you. It's just talking about the different parts of your endocrine system that this particular oil helps with, helps support, and it mentions a few more things here. It talks about not only your thyroid, your pituitary gland, your adrenal glands. So that was something I came up with you in my research. People just love, love, love this oil blend of Endoflex. So this is from a doctor. This is a post from a doctor that I thought you might find interesting about the thyroid gland, that when the weather changes, your thyroid changes also. Of course, we're always, trying to get that homeostasis in our system. We are changing objects, but your numbers might change when you're having these blood tests, depending on the weather. I just thought that was something that was interesting from this doctor that I thought I would go ahead and share with you all. And here, this is a little deep scientific thing. This is not me. I'm not not real deep into science. But if you are, you might want to take a screenshot of this graphic to read it later, because it's talking about different thyroid tests to make sure that your thyroid needs some support. Because especially the supplement, what I've read about it, it's not something you just want to take on yourself and say, oh, my thyroid needs help, let me order and take the Thyramine. You want to make sure that's something that's going to actually be good for you and for your body. Endoflex is different because that's supporting all of our endocrine system, and we want to keep it all healthy. So that is that's a good blend for most all of us. So going on, I'm going to give you some more ideas of different Young Living products that can help our thyroid and our hormones, keeping our hormones happy here. So this came up a lot, Progessence Plus. This is the blend Progessence Plus. It has natural wild yams in here. And notice what it says. We want to put this on our forearms. So Progessence Plus is another thyroid support oil that you might want to think about. And this supports a lot more than just the thyroid, your whole system. This is great for women. This is great for young women who are trying to support a healthy menstrual cycle. This is great for older women who are dealing with menopause. This is great for everyone. So Progessence Plus. But when we were doing our research, I did my research on the thyroid. This one kept coming up a lot also. So Progessence Plus, and they talk about clary sage on the ankles and Endoflex on the throat. So Progessence Plus is a oil that came up a lot for those who need thyroid support. And here's another one that I'm on, Progessence Plus. Let me go ahead and show this to you too. That people's stories were just on and on and on about how beautiful these products were with helping them. That they're talking about Progessence. Is this the same graphic that I showed you? No, it's actually different, but they're basically saying the same thing, that clary sage and Progessence Plus are great. Great for your thyroid support. I wanted to give you all some different ideas that can help you out. And there are two more oils too that I think will be a great help for your thyroid that I want to go ahead and tell you about. This is another, let me see if this might be interesting to you. If you want to take a screenshot and read it later, it's kind of a deep graphic about Progessence Plus and Endoflex. and how this helps us naturally to balance out our hormones. It keeps us healthy, keeps our thyroids healthy. We wanted to get it into our skin. We want to get it into our system. So if you want to take a quick screenshot of that, that's an idea for you too. Okay, so what if you have hyperthyroid? What kind of oils can help you? Because hypo is what we talk about a lot. That means it's working slow. What if it goes too fast? Because some people do have that issue. That would be you lose weight fast, but energy is an issue for everyone who needs a healthy thyroid. This is a blend for keeping your overactive thyroid happy. Lemongrass, wintergreen, sandalwood, and frankincense. So if you want to take a screenshot of that, that can help our friends who maybe want to keep the thyroid going, that it's going a little bit the other way. I thought that was really the only idea I had for you. If you have a thyroid that goes wild. So what exactly is in this Progessence Plus? What does Young Living have to say about this? We have a little graphic here for you. It's about helping to keep everything balanced. We want to be the healthiest we can possibly be. And what's in this is copaiba, sacred frank, cedarwood, bergamot, peppermint, wild yams, clove. And it was interesting that clove does a lot of beautiful things for the body and body temperature. I found that interesting, that is what clove really works for. So a drop in the morning, a drop in the afternoon. And a lot of times this is great on the ankles to get it into your system, to get it where we want it to work. Others are on the forearm is another place it's mentioned to use the Progessence Plus. So these are just some ideas we have for you all. We want to keep our thyroids happy. We want to keep our endocrine system happy, and nutmeg and frankincense are two more that come up as being great. Nutmeg is mostly, I hear this a lot for the adrenal glands, but of course the whole glandular system works together. So this is a graphic if you want to go ahead and read the information later about nutmeg and how nutmeg can be so incredible for your thyroid and for your adrenal glands. And this particular person in her story says she made a huge difference in her energy levels in just a couple days. So nutmeg is another great one for your thyroid. And frankincense we know is great for everything. So that was in another graphic that I had, another story that somebody's personal story that I was reading about. And last but not least, I wanted to go ahead and share this with you, that it brings up another oil that's in the blend Endoflex, but we haven't talked about, and that's myrtle. Myrtle is another great support for your thyroid gland. So we've given you a ton of information on different products that can help support your thyroid, keep you healthy and happy. That's our goal. And let's just throw this out here quickly. If anybody has any questions for us that are not too medically going directed, if we can answer them for you compliantly, we'll be happy to try to do that. Anybody have any questions on any of these products or their uses? Or what the thyroid does, if we can help you with that, or why we need to support it? Well, it looks like we've answered those questions. So I think we're going to say goodbye to our friends on Facebook, and we will see you next week. What are we talking about next week, Rochelle? Let's look up what we're talking about next week so we can have you guys with us and you'll know what we're talking about next week. Oh, we're going to be talking, about Black Friday. So Young Living once a year, Young Living has this amazing sale. Things go 50% off. Some things even go more than 50% off. 30% off, whatever, but the best prices any of us can get all year. So that's going to start on Tuesday. So if you're watching this and you don't have a Young Living account, you just want to go ahead and do that. You want to browse the website. You want to see what products you want, throw them in your cart. And once your account is all set up, make sure you have your password, that it's absolutely ready to go. Because what happens is Young Living sets so many things aside, and when they're gone, they're gone. So Tuesday, 11 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock Mountain time, I do believe it is, things start. And by noon, 1, 2 o'clock, some things might be gone. So you want to make sure that you have what you want in that cart ready to go, and you can just push that button to send your order out on Tuesday morning. And hopefully Wednesday, the sale goes for a few days. But what I found is after a couple of days, a lot of things tend to sell out, especially the things that are discounted the greatest. If they have anything 50% off, it might be gone. But the best we can do, those of us who've been customers for 2 years, is get 25% off. That's about it. And it's actually not 25% off. It's 25% back in free products at another time. But what we're hoping is that there's some great sales. We've heard that if anyone has not put an order in yet, if they're brand new, if you have a sister, a mother, a father, a husband that has not had an account with Young Living and they're willing to get an account with Young Living, set them up, because they also will be able to use a 10% off code. So say something's 50% off, they'll get 60% off. So those are the kind of people you want to hang around with. And that's what we have. That's why I've been telling everyone, I've been trying to tell everyone this week, get your new accounts going. And who knows what else Young Living has in mind, but I've heard the new customers are going to be treated like royalty. Those of us are here too, we'll get huge discounts, but those new people are going to be treated like royalty. So think about it. If you have a friend you can set an account up for, a husband, a wife, a cousin, a sister, ask them, would you like a Young Living account, and get that going and be ready for Tuesday. All right, now I'm going to say goodbye to people on Facebook. Thanks for joining us. See you next week, and we'll tell you more details about the Black Friday specials. Bye.